I want to give a quick, so this is going to be the bonus video. I just want to give you a quick overview of how is it that I use these different drawing instruments that I just referred, in particular the Pentel brush pens and the fine liners as well. I categorize these two drawing instruments in a separate way mentally. For me, for my workflow. Whenever I'm using a pencil, for the most part, I will end up inking the drawing that I made with a pencil using a point liner. If, on the other hand, I am drawing free form, I will probably just use a Pentel brush pen for that purpose, right? So that's my workflow. And each color in my head has a different different case scenario that I like to explore, that I like to use. So for example, let's say that I have this idea for drawing. I have this idea for drawing in my head, and I'm just going to be sketching for a bit, right? I'm just going to be sketching for a bit. I'm trying to look for ideas, trying to explore something. Okay, I've arrived at an idea and I start sketching. So I'm using the pencil, as you can see, and this would be a bit similar to the workflow that I employ for my travel sketchbook. I'm sketching with my pencil. And that I'm not overly concerned if the drawing is super precise. I'm not overly concerned if I'm hitting all the right notes, and by notes I mean all the correct anatomy parts. I'm just concerned with having some fun, exploring ideas, see what works. Maybe put a big coat here. A big coat does demand a big pocket, right? And I'm drawing with a pencil. And then I arrive at the point where, let's say I have a finished drawing, I have a finished sketch, and I want to ink it. I want to make it more final looking, right? In these cases, what I usually do is that I take out the fine liner that you see here, and I start inking it. So in this case, I grab the 03s just because it's a bit easier to see. I start inking my drawing. And that's the main use case scenario for the fine liner. It's for the purposes of inking a sketch. Right now, that's the main part of my workflow is this. I sketch with a pencil and then I ink. And by the way, I'm not being very precise because I'm talking at the same time as I'm drawing. And also to keep it entertaining, I could just be quiet. But I just want to highlight how is it that I employ these tools on my workflow. So I have here my coat. I make some changes. Maybe the initial sketch wasn't to my liking. I'll make some changes on the go. But yeah. And then maybe if I want to make some additional details, I'll grab a 0.05 tip, maybe some cross-hatching, and we can talk about cross-hatching as well in the course. I mean, I think we will talk about cross-hatching and texture. perfect. Now let's say that what I want to do is actually no. I'm just out and about and I want to draw something without thinking, without having a sketch. That's when I grab a brush pen. And the good thing about at least a Pentel brush pen is that it is very forgiving. Depending on the amount of ink on the ink barrel, you can get these very gray lines that actually can also be used or could be theoretically used as a sketch, like a pencil sketch, because they are super thin, so it can almost be perceived as a sketch that's underneath. And the line variation does make it quite fun to draw with. Maybe some fire here. It's just an instrument that lends itself to being fun and very spontaneous. So that's why I really like using brush pens. The red pen, and then of course we cannot forget the fact that you can also smudge a bit to add that so interesting gray texture to a drawing. It is a lot of fun. The red pen comes in handy as well for, let's say I want to make some notes or some corrections. Maybe I can redo this helmet. Maybe I can redo the helmet to a different angle. Maybe like this. What would the person like if it was from this angle? Maybe with a bit of hair. Some nice arrows. So I could redo the helmet. Right. And yeah, I use the red to make these type of notes whenever I'm sketching something that's not necessarily going to be published online. So I use the red pen a lot for this as well. For the blue pen, I use it quite a lot because I really enjoy the blue tone that it has. It gives it a simultaneously a colder feeling, but also a warmer feeling in a weird way. I really like the steel blue color. I hope it never gets discontinued, honestly. But the ink has such a nice pigment to it that just works super nice. Nice. So this is just a very brief overview of my workflow and how I position these tools in my head whenever I'm drawing. Hence the title, bonus video. It's possible that you could have your own, I mean, it's entirely likely that you have your own favorite color and your workflow. And the idea is that you try to also structure in your head for yourself, when is it that you use this tool versus when is it that you use this another tool, right? I think that's also an important exercise for mental organization and for using the right tool at the right time as well. Nice robot. Yeah, so this was the bonus video. See you on the next one.